question is, do I have a God complex? Which makes me wonder if this lawyer has any idea as to the type of grades one has to receive in college to get into a top medical school. If you have the vaguest clue as to how talented one must be to lead a surgical team. I have an MT from Harvard. I'm board certified in neurothoracic medicine and trauma surgery. I've been awarded citations from 7 different medical boards in New England, and I'm never sick at sea. So I ask you, when someone goes into that chapel and they get on their knees and they pray to God that their wife doesn't miscarry, or that their daughter doesn't bleed to death, or that their mother doesn't suffer acute neurotrauma from post-operative shock, who do you think they're praying to? So go ahead and read your Bible, dentist, and with any luck, you might win the annual raffle. But if you're looking for God, he was in operating room number 2 on November 17th, and he does not like to be second-guessed. You asked me if I have a God complex. Well, let me tell you something. I am God. This is a speech taken from the movie Malice, and its purpose in my presentation is to show you how highly regarded and important members of the medical profession are. Healthcare professionalism is taken to the extent as to compare doctors to God. And while this is a bold statement, it is not entirely false. What is the most important and sacred thing on this earth? Is it wealth? Is it popularity? Is it athleticism? No, it is human life. It is health. And who are the guardians and protectors of life? Doctors. If someone gets in a car accident or an old lady gets a heart attack, it is up to doctors to decide if she lives or if she dies. So I'm here to tell you today that Canada should replace its universal healthcare system with private healthcare, similar to the system used in the States. Why? Because principles such as protection of life and avoidance of suffering have such central roles in our society that when it comes to remediation of these issues, problems with underfunding and mismanagement should not be a valid excuse. So the typical argument one thinks of when they hear of private healthcare is it is too expensive. But it should not be criticized that doctors are being paid too much. Their tremendous salaries should emphasize how important their roles are and how capable a doctor must be to earn his title. Our society should reward individuals who are so capable as to promote their importance, as to promote the importance of excelling and achieving high merits in society. When thinking of Canada's current healthcare system, one thinks free for all, but it is at the expense of efficiency and promptness. So I stand here today because when it comes to the protection of life, to my life and your life, I would gladly sacrifice costs for a system that values efficiency and quality. So in front of you are handouts stating valid points about private healthcare. The points on it are brief and to the point. Me, I'm just a speaker. I'm just the figurehead for private healthcare in Canada, and I'm not here to bombard you with facts. I'm here to persuade you. I'm here to intrigue you. I'm here to captivate you, to make you think that I'm a capable, intelligent individual. And by seeing that in all those things, you will ask yourself, why would you be out there advocating private health if it is not the best system? So I'm telling you honestly, just as much as I'm advertising private healthcare, I'm also advertising myself. So when you leave here today with that handout in your hand, you'll be motivated to look at it and think, was Blake right? Does Canada's status quo need to change? So let's begin. The problem with Canada's healthcare system today is waiting lists. A man in Quebec, a 73-year-old man, had to wait up to a year for hip replacement surgery. He was so upset, as any other person would be, that he sued the government. The lawsuit made it all the way to the Supreme Court, who ruled that long wait periods infringed upon Section 7 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The court's ruling found that waiting lists for healthcare services have resulted in deaths, have increased the length of time that patients have to be in pain, and have impaired patients' ability to enjoy any real quality of life. It is from this example that one should feel obligated to change our system, because no one deserves to be shown such neglect. Private healthcare would have gone through with the operation in only a couple of weeks. Right now you must be thinking, so how bad is it? And how can we change it? Well, to give you an example, there have been cases where Canadian hospitals had to ship their patients to U.S. hospitals because they did not have adequate facilities or doctors. As well, there has been patients with head traumas who've languished in as long as 8 hours in Canadian emergency wards while healthcare workers scrambled to locate care. This is not the sign of a functional healthcare system. So, to add on to this point, the facilities are not only do they have more facilities, but they are better. Often, a patient will receive their own room, a more extensive menu to order from, and have en-suite facilities. So, obviously this stands for better facilities in general, but when I'm talking to a whole classroom of university students who've had to pick houses, who've had to pick rooms with their roommates, don't even try to tell me the en-suite bathroom doesn't make a difference. Don't even try to tell me that. It does. So how can we change it? It is easier than you think. Per capita, the United States spends $6,096 on healthcare expenditures, compared to Canada's $3,173. This means that the average increase would be $3,000 per year. Which begs the question, is it worth $3,000 for better protection of our health? Then there is this argument. In our system, healthy people must deal with the burden of those who smoke, those who are obese, those who play competitive sports and risk injury. Bottom line, we all pay the same amount, even though we don't all use it. I know there are many holes in this argument, such as if we penalize smokers, we must penalize alcoholics. If we penalize people who eat badly, we must penalize people who don't exercise regularly. But you can also look at it from the other way around. Instead of penalizing people who are bad, reward people who are good. Every person takes responsibility for all the decisions they make. If they are making bad decisions that affect their body, they should be willing to pay more, and those who make good decisions should be paying less. So let's look at the counter-argument to it all. The counter-argument to private healthcare as a whole is, it's unfair. It's unfair because it does not cover all the citizens. The United States, for example, only 15% of the population is uninsured. That is a massive 45 million people. But first, some of that population is illegal immigrants. And second, the question of what uninsured means is left unanswered. An article stated the U.S. is the only country in the developed world, except for South Africa, that does not provide healthcare for all its citizens. While this quote is an attempt to demote the system, it does not accurately portray private healthcare. But the truth is, just because Americans are uninsured does not mean they cannot receive healthcare. Non-profit and government-run hospitals provide services to those who don't have insurance, and it is illegal to refuse emergency medical service because they are insured. It is not the private healthcare system that is flawed, it is the universal. In Canada, we promote our current system as being accessible to all. But what is access without efficiency and quality? Halfway around the world, if there's people suffering of dehydration, and we offer them access to water, but it was polluted and contaminated, do we really call that access? The argument in Canada is that access to waiting lists is not access to healthcare. So, can I do the fancy way to look at it? Dealing with universal healthcare versus healing private healthcare. So, to fix our health system's flaws, per year, who would want to spend $5,000 to $10,000 on healthcare? The answer is everyone. Everyone would, as long as they knew what they were paying for. If they knew that timely action, being the staple of private healthcare, prevents diseases from manifesting into more serious illnesses. If they knew that private healthcare provides an improved hospital experience in which privacy, comfort, and convenience are taken into account. If they knew that the expenses of private healthcare mean more money to spend on medical technology and research. They knew that a raise of only $3,000 per capita would allow private healthcare into our system. If you knew that private healthcare in Canada would fix the flaws of our current system, solving the problems of waiting times, inefficiency, and underfunding, now you know. So you ask, how do I know private healthcare is better? Well, not only did I go through many scholarly articles, Not only did I research online for days and days and days, but the most credible and important research I did was through first-hand experience. Can we have a round of applause? So tell us about your injury.
Well, first of all, I'd spent like 5 hours in the waiting room. X-ray took a couple minutes. Cast took probably only 10 minutes.
So why 5 hours?
It really has to do with the lack of doctors. They just couldn't accommodate us all. And it took forever for them to find a bed for me.
Wow, that is incredible. He is so brave. Dealing with the universal healthcare system really takes a lot out of the person. So let me finish with a brief demonstration that I think will help you out when you're deciding which system is better. So this is similar to a before and after simulation, universal being the before and private healthcare being the after, the new and improved after. And the scenario in this demonstration is that we are the same person and we are both getting knee replacement surgery. So let's begin.
Well, I had to go through the universal healthcare system, and with that system, knee replacement surgery takes only about 3 weeks. But here in Canada, it can take up to 8 weeks. And it's really prolonged the extent of my injury. Even though I'm scheduled to have my operation in the very near future, I'm still really annoyed with the current medical system and how slow it is.
With private healthcare, I've been off my crutches for several weeks now. I'm looking forward to going to Cuba with my girlfriend and have a fashion show in which I'll be able to show off my strut and model my moves. Private healthcare was able to cut down my injury and recovery time. And I am reaping the benefits of it. Isn't it amazing what one can do in just a few weeks? Private healthcare in Canada is the smart choice. Thank you for listening to this.